Is there anything that we think has gone the wrong way?
From the tabletop game, I remember, especially third, you could customize like everything, and I'm not just talking about your captain and giving him cool war gear. There was the third edition Tyranids. You could basically invent entire units by taking your base Gorn and adding on different biomorphs. So if you wanted to just go fast, you could give it like extra adrenal glands and all the rest of it. Or
that rings a bell.
Ethan, that was awesome, and I feel like a lot of that's been lost. I think Connor mentioned it a while ago with his Tau battle suits. Like you could tailor each suit really specifically, and now you just have a few set options. I remember Chaos back in the day as well. You could, I think it was especially in third, you could basically pour like a quarter of your army's points into like your Chaos Lord, and he would start off as a lieutenant, and the more equipment you gave him, like the higher his rank and points cost would be. So eventually it'd be like he counts as a Daemon Prince almost, just because he had so much shit. Or they might have been separate entries, I'm trying to remember completely, but it was just the way that it was structured. So you could just have this absolute monster that you put together with all your personalized stuff. And I think sometimes they could outperform like the special characters. So you saw less, like Logan Grimnar every match, and more, here's my individual personalized Chaos Lord named, I don't know, Dan the Magnificent. Yeah. And I feel like
James the oiled one.
Yeah, James the oiled custode, exactly. And I feel like maybe that's been a bit lost, but I'd be intrigued to hear what you two think as well.
What's your take on that, James?
Yeah, I was, when I was playing fantasy before, I was a full-on hero hammer player.
Nice.
And there were the rules were very, very slack then, to the point that I'm sure you could give like a dwarf lord the sword of Teclis, and things like that. There was no boundaries as to what if that enhancement or that weapon was in the list of cards, you could give it to anyone. And it was kind of cool. Like you said, you could make like these sort of chaos sorcerer lord, level 4 lord, super duper powered, give them the staff of Nurgle and various other things. So they're virtually indestructible 600 point monster storming across the table.
That's great.
I do kind of miss that, I've got to say.
Yeah. I feel like they could. Sorry.
Well, whether they could find a clever way to make it balanced and sensible without pissing people off.
They could just bring it back to a certain degree, but just still keep it as like you can't really change the OC on a character. So you can have this absolute monster for like 1,000 points, but he can only capture one objective. So you need to make sure you use this guy like perfectly to wipe out enough of the army that your few troops left can take the objectives.
Yeah.
It's basically knights, I suppose, really.
Well, if you picture me as Connor for a minute, he was talking last week. We were talking about this because we were talking about the evolution from 10th edition to 11th edition. I said, I'm not sure it's worth learning 10th edition now. And he said, well, it is, because 11th edition isn't going to be a complete rewrite. It's going to be just tweaking 10. So he thinks it's going to be more of a 10.5 almost.
Okay.
And so we were talking about this. We were talking about, I said, I don't necessarily miss all the tweaks, being able to, because it would take you forever to put your army list together. Because, you'd be there like, okay, well, I want this sergeant to have this weapon, and it would take you forever. But his take on it was, I think, probably about right, as usual. He thinks that you should just be able to alter characters, but troops is much more as they are now. So you have some options, but it's pretty universal.
Yeah.
And that, I think, makes a lot of sense.